I'm Bill Sewell, Senior Vice President Operations. During my visits with you in and out of the cockpit, I've noticed a real interest on your part in company plans, programs, and accomplishments. This presentation on American Airlines' new route applications is quite frankly an experimental effort to respond to your expressed needs for more information. Aside from stimulating conjecture on new sequences to bid, new places to work, or sites to visit, route applications generally suggest important corporate growth. And implicit in corporate growth, of course, is the personal growth of those prepared to extend the efforts necessary to assure it. Over the past several years, much of Americans' growth has been based on the introduction of new equipment and the development and implementation of superior airline service. However, as well as we've progressed, the inescapable truth is that American Airlines cannot hope for much more than a stunted future growth without new and fertile areas in which to expand. American Airlines has benefited substantially less than other carriers from new route awards. Only 19.6% of our traffic comes from routes granted since 1938, while other trunk lines receive 50 to 98% of their traffic from new routes added to their systems. Furthermore, it's our belief that the rapidly approaching jumbo jet and SST eras will make it essential for a trunk line to be involved in intercontinental service in order to compete as a major airline. And so we're directing the most aggressive efforts in our company's history towards securing a healthy share of the ever-increasing domestic and global air service structure. We're armed with an extremely strong justification of our position and motivated very strongly. I'm sure you're all aware that in January of 1966, we filed formal application for authority to operate between 17 major U.S. cities and 17 mid-Pacific, Far Eastern, and oceanic locations. Our objective is to establish American Airlines as America's gateway to the Pacific, linking 3 continents through a network spanning over 30,000 air miles, serving Anchorage, Tokyo, Osaka, Seoul, Taipei, Hong Kong, Bangkok, Saigon, Singapore, Jakarta, and Bali, Sydney, Fiji, American Samoa, Guam, Hilo, and Honolulu. The initial basis for the Trans-Pacific case was an investigation to determine the need for improved service from the U.S. mainland to Hawaii, Australia, and the Far East. Current growth trends indicate that the need is great, and the future potential is such that 18 other carriers are seeking to participate in it. This is undoubtedly one of the most important applications American Airlines has ever filed. We believe our historical involvement in generating traffic for the Pacific, our ability to provide service for key U.S. population and business centers, and our excellent record, including a very fine MAC performance, are strong points in our favor. The case has gone to the CAB examiner with his initial decision expected in early 1968. This will be a recommended decision to the Civil Aeronautics Board. In an international case, the CAB will then review all briefs submitted by participating carriers and hear oral arguments before reaching a decision. Decisions on international operations also require approval by the President of the United States. While Mr. Johnson has recommended swift action on this case, its conclusion is still many months ahead. In the domestic picture, our most extensive application regarding service to new cities is part of the Southern Tier competitive nonstop case. We are seeking an extension of our present routes from Los Angeles and San Francisco beyond Dallas-Fort Worth and Houston to Atlanta, New Orleans, Tampa, and Miami. This case is awaiting board action, one of the more nebulous stages of case development, during which the CAB weighs proposals and counter-proposals of participants as a prelude to establishing the scope of the case. Understandably, the ramifications of each case require meticulous consideration of every facet. No timetable can or should be applied, and predictions on when a case will be concluded are carefully avoided. We have applications pending in the Gulf States Midwest case, in which we seek to improve our operating authority between the Gulf States cities of Houston, San Antonio, Dallas-Fort Worth, New Orleans, Jackson, Memphis, and Nashville, and the Midwest cities of Chicago, Detroit, St. Louis, and Indianapolis. The Gulf States Midwest case is expected to reach the CAB examiner before long, and the next announcement of significance should contain news of his initial decision. In response to a request by United Airlines for certain nonstop restriction removal, American has asked for the removal of restrictions from our San Diego, Los Angeles, and San Francisco nonstop service. Approval of the authority we seek in this case would permit us to provide nonstop service from our 3 West Coast terminals to 25 of the easterly cities on our system now served only through intermediate points or by connecting flights. We view the nonstop segments from San Francisco to St. Louis, Cleveland, Boston, Philadelphia, and Washington, Baltimore as the most important routings in this case. Nonstop service to Albuquerque from 5 major cities or co-terminals has been the subject of CAB investigation. Our position is that routes 4 and 7 should be amended to permit American Airlines to serve Albuquerque from all 5 of these cities. This case is awaiting board action. I'd like to very briefly mention several other cases. From the cities of Omaha, Des Moines, and Salt Lake City, we are seeking authority to serve Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, New York, and Washington, Baltimore. We also seek authority to operate Salt Lake City, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, and to serve Las Vegas from Tucson and Phoenix. Looking to the east, we seek unrestricted nonstop authority from Pittsburgh to New York and Boston. Understandably, the scope of the entire package of route cases is subject to rapid change, making it illogical to attempt to judge the total growth potential. The Pacific application, however, viewed by itself, would expand our system route miles by 2.5 times. To support this expansion, American Airlines is prepared to invest $500 million in the equipment required to provide 54 flights a day and 55,000 seats a week across the Pacific. In addition, we're planning to operate 38 all-cargo flights each week. Dollar requirements for facilities and equipment, including everything from 25-cent ashtrays to $33,000 Air Start trucks, have been calculated for each Pacific station. The entire operation will require 6,500 additional people, over 1,600 of whom would be cockpit personnel. As part of the detailed planning we've gone into, computations on typical trip sequences have been made. You might, for example, depart Los Angeles for Honolulu with an overnight stay, depart Honolulu for Tokyo with a 29-hour layover, fly Tokyo-Seoul on a turnaround with an overnight in Tokyo, go Tokyo-Honolulu with a 24-hour layover, and then return to Los Angeles. We are optimistic about American's new route prospects, and our plan is to continue the implementation studies that will enable us to initiate new service anywhere, swiftly, efficiently, and safely. We have just completed another detailed survey trip to Alaska, Japan, and the Hawaiian Islands in order to validate our requirements for communications, facilities, and people. Whatever new routes American Airlines becomes privileged to serve, the company is confident that its people will provide the very finest service possible.